Hi, guess who? Dr. Bill here, back from the dead. So it is my great pleasure to be able to spend this time with you now. I can tell you, in fact, I can't tell you how good it feels to be up and about. So look, just a quick review for those of you who may not know the history. I know most of you do, but some of you may be just looking at this for the first time. I've had a problem in my right shoulder for about 5 years, and it slowly got worse. And about 2 years ago, it became very, very painful. And shortly after that, I got a scan done on it, which revealed a growth in the shoulder. And when I got the biopsy, it was a cancer, and they said your only solution is removal of the arm. And that was probably about 20 months ago now. They said the pain would become unbearable, you wouldn't be able to stand it. And I decided I would try an alternative. I obviously didn't want to lose my shoulder. And then began that 20-month journey. I was in pain, obviously, and I was able to minimize the pain. I was able to, without drugs, I was able to reduce the swelling. And on the last scan in April this year, the scan actually showed a reduction in the cancer. So I really thought I was getting somewhere. Unfortunately, the cancer had actually knocked out the nerve supply to the shoulder and also the blood supply, especially the blood flowing from the shoulder. So the arm, through all that time, was just slowly degenerating. And again, it was just hanging by my side. I had to carry it with my left arm. I couldn't feel it. It was numb. It was no movement. It basically totally, virtually died. So, and then the pain became really intense about 2 months ago. I was managing that with really heavy pain medication. And my wife said, "This is no life. You can't go on like this." I tried one last ditch effort with a practitioner who, said he could help, but it was basically too late. I succumbed to the operation, screaming and kicking reluctantly, and they said that if I didn't have the operation, that basically the cancer would very soon kill me. So I realized the arm needed to come off anywhere, and I was okay with that by then. But then they said, and they dropped a bombshell on me, well, we've got to take the shoulder as well. And of course, that was really, really hard for me to take, because taking the arm is one thing, and I hadn't had much use of it for 12 months anyway. In fact, it was a passenger. My left arm was carrying it. Oh, just a little warning. This might be a tissue job today for me, so, if I break down and cry, please forgive me. I'm sorry, but it's something that very close to the surface, the emotions. Anyway, so I've got my tissue ready. So, I used to be critical of people in church that used to cry when they used to give talks in our church. The minister doesn't give the talks, the congregation does. I used to think, don't stop crying. Well, there you go. It's come back to me, isn't it? So I've got to repent of that. Okay, so I say, okay, go in the hospital. What actually made things so much worse was I reacted to the antibiotics. It was absolute nightmare. So not just the operation, but the antibiotics made me really, really ill, really nauseous. I was eliminating water from the bowel, yellow at first, and then turned to black. And I was just lying there, couldn't sleep, just day after day, just lying there, looking at the ceiling, just absolutely miserable. And I said to my wife, had I known it was going to be this bad, I would not have gone through it. I would have just let myself die. In fact, I was ready to die there and then. I said, I'd rather die right now than go through this. That's how bad I felt. So we'll get to the good news in a moment. So I realized after a few days it must have been the antibiotics. So I just said to them, I'm not taking antibiotics. I just had to be really firm. Very difficult in hospital to do that. Very difficult. And they're doing their best for you. And they've got their rules and their regulations, especially the nurses. The doctors, you can usually, get it, but the nurses, no, this is what you got to have. So eventually I just said, I think it was about 4 days, I said, I can't take this anymore. It's killing me, no more. Got my wife to bring in some natural medicine, some homeopathics. I modified my diet. I knew what to do. And within 24 hours, I was starting to feel better. In fact, I had the operation on the Tuesday last week, about 10 days ago. And on the Sunday morning, I was out there on the lawn of the hospital. I put my clothes on and I sneaked out. I said to the patients, "Shh, don't tell anyone." And they all said, "Nurse, he's escaping. It's so funny. Anyway, I sort of tiptoed out going like this. I got out on the lawn, and of course, the fresh air and the sun, it was just absolutely amazing. And I started doing my exercises with one arm. So funny. I was expecting the white van to come around any minute with a man in white coats to cart me off, some crazy guy on the lawn. So I turned the corner on the Sunday, and from that day, and in the evening, my wife came in and she said, "Oh, you've got a lot of responses to your video." And I said, "Oh, well, okay, read them for me." And so she sat down and she started to read them. And this is now coming. This is not about me. This video is about you, for a couple of reasons. So when I tell my story, I want you to think of how you can benefit from my experience. It's not about me. I tell you my story to help you so that you can actually benefit from it. And you can see, some of you, the part that you played. So, on with the show. So, she came in and she started to read all the blogs. Well, I just fell apart. I'm going to do it now. So I had to go to the toilet and get all these tissues, come back, and I had to stop her because I kept breaking down. Because, the amount of love and support and the prayers that were shown to me. And everyone's saying all these wonderful things about me. In fact, you see, I was ready to give up many times through that 2 years, especially through that hospital period. I was ready to give up. But what got me through it? What got me through it was not me, but you. You got me through it, and God, because I was ready to give up. So, we need to place credit where credit is due. And you're all giving me the credit. Now I'm giving you the credit. Because basically, I was ready to pull the plug a number of times. And what got me through it was your love, your support, and your prayers. Now, I realize that we're all different. We all have different beliefs. I understand that. But even if you don't have a belief in God and you don't believe in prayers, you still send out that love. And that's very, very powerful. Because in effect, that's really what prayers are anyway. It's all an energy. It all comes down to love. And you sent that love and that support to me. And I believe with all my heart, that's what got me through it, as well as my faith in God and in Jesus Christ. So it is a combination, and your faith in God too. But the underlying factor was love. Now, there's been so many lessons I've got from this, so many lessons. That's why we've entitled this, Lost an Arm and a Shoulder, but Gained a New Meaning of Life. And so, when you've gone through suffering, obviously your emotions are on the surface. And so, there's been so many lessons for me. And I'm going to share these lessons with you, not today, but gradually as we spend more time together and I do these newsletters and these blogs, I will be sharing or bringing in many of the lessons that I've learned. Because, you can only grow so much at a time. You can only learn so much at a time. It's a step-by-step growth process. But the big lesson for me, I think there's two. One is the one I've just mentioned, was your love and your support. And the other one is the increased love that I feel for my wife, for my family, for my friends, for you, for my patients. And it's really very powerful. It's actually overwhelming me, the amount of love that I feel. In fact, I'm so keen to get out and start doing things. My body's saying, whoa. Yesterday I had a bad day. I was really spent. And usually I crash around about lunchtime. My body just says enough. I mean, it's only been, 10 days and what I've been through. But I'm so enthusiastic and I'm so keen, so full of desire to make a difference, to serve. And that's the other lesson for me. It's not just about love, it's about service. And, I want to serve. So, I'm coming back to work. Hopefully, I'll be back on the 8th of August, which is a Monday, which is about 3 weeks by the time you get this. So that's my plan. So those of you who want to come and see me, okay, which would be lovely, we'll have a hug, okay, as well. Hang on. It would be wonderful. So in case I forget, I want to thank you. I really, really want to thank you. And for those of you, who are not Christians, you can tune out for just a moment. For those of you who are Christians, I've got a message for you. One of the things I learned is that I obviously believe that what Christ went through, all his suffering in the Garden of Gethsemane and on the cross, was so that he could support us in our suffering. He went through it himself, so when we suffer and we need help, we can go to him and he knows how to help us. Yes, he paid the price for our sins and our mistakes and got rid of the karma, if you want to call it that, on condition that we accept him as our Saviour. But because of what he went through, he's able to succor us or support us in our times of need. And I believe that with all my heart, that was part of what helped me. So for us Christians, I'm giving credit where credit's due to my Saviour for what he went through for me. I have a great understanding of that. But coming back to all of you again, not to detract from any of you, it's still all about love. Perhaps to end on a lighter note, guess what? I broke a tooth this morning. And my wife said, you're not going to do the video today. And I thought to myself, I can't do the video today, I've broken a tooth. But I thought, what the heck? I mean, so what? Next time you see me, I won't have the tooth missing. So there you go. It's said that those who laugh at themselves will never cease to be amused. So there you go. And while we're on that, when I went into hospital, I was put into a private room, and I thought, fantastic, even though it's the room where they put the patients that have infectious diseases, and I thought, maybe I'm infectious in some way. So they put me in this room by myself. I thought, wonderful. I'm in a public hospital and I get a private room. Isn't that terrific? You know what they say, because I'm not in a health fund, they say, you go private, it costs you an arm and a leg. You go public, it only costs you an arm. Oh, sorry about that. But Ashley's heard this one and she's doing this, because she's still laughing as she's trying not to make a noise. So I'm going to say it again. You go private, it costs you an arm and a leg. But if you go public, it's going to cost you an arm. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, I'm having a joke at your expense. So anyway, what was I going to say? I forgot. Anyway, I'm in this private room and they say, look, we've got to move you out. We've got to do some maintenance on the room. And I think, oh, bam, So I go into this ward with 3 other farts like myself. And they're snoring at night and the lights are going on and there's all this I'm thinking, and I'm lying there going, miserable. I'm thinking the end is nigh. Anyway, one of the guys couldn't move. He's in a lot of pain. He's sort of immobilised in bed. Ex-CEO of P&O. And they offered to move, and I'll get to that in a moment. So, excuse me. So I could see he's in pain and his phone rings and he can't reach it. So I get up and I get his phone for him. And then, the newspaper comes in, he can't reach the newspaper and he can't reach this and he can't do that. And the other guy next to me, he's just had really major surgery on his face and he gets diarrhea and he's got this cough and I'm saying, listen, do this and this. And in the end, we're having an absolute ball, the 4 of us. And the other guy was an army officer and he's in there and he's giving me these lovely compliments. And they're all saying to me, you are amazing. You are an inspiration to us. I'm thinking, what's going on? I don't get it. And anyway, the other guy said, you've made my stay in hospital wonderful. And I got out on the Tuesday, and on the Wednesday I rang them up and I said, guess who? And they said, we're missing you. So, I could have looked on the downside and said, no, I'm not getting in a private room. But I get out there and I'm able to make a difference to somebody else. And guess what? I was the one that benefited. I was the one. I walked out of there on air. When I walked out, I'm saying, wish me luck and singing and, they all, we miss you. So it was really, really lovely. So I need to stop. I could go on and on and on and on. I'm going to leave you with one thing. And this just came to me. Am I loved less because I only have one arm? No, of course not. I'm not loved less because I have less of my physical body. I'm loved more. So another lesson for me, and I hope a lesson for you. And again, I just want to finish by thanking you all because you got me through it. And now I want to be there for you. And if there's anything I can do for you, if you're struggling, if you need any help, contact me, let me know, and I'll do what I can. And I can help you personally. And if we want the group to join in and help us all, we can have a forum. We can say, look, so-and-so struggling with this, this and this. Let's all get behind them. Let's all pray for them, especially if you're on your own. You know, one of the guy next to me lived on his own. Nobody. No one came to see him. So I didn't realise that until the end. And one of the guys I went up, the older guy went up and kissed him on the cheek and said, I love you. So, you know, this is not me at all. So I'm so grateful for the experience and what it's given me. And I'm going to sign off now before I break down completely. See you soon. Thank you all so much. Bye.